Johnny, on Jack specifically, what have you seen in his development over the last year, whatever, few months, and what would you like to see more of from him?
I think the way he came on, attacked the game at the weekend was very impressive. The energy that he brought, and then with that, making good decisions. Like, he wasn't setting anything up; he was getting the ball to the space when it was there in the moment, and so that's a big development for him. I suppose it's the hardest thing to do as a 10. It's when in international rugby, the difference between a good game and a bad game is when the space is there, you got to go there, because if you set it phase up, it's not going to be there the next time because teams are too good, and that's the big difference between club rugby and international rugby. So what he did on Saturday was good in that regard, and now if he starts, he'll have to do it from minute one. You know, it can be, I suppose, it can be different from the start. You have to maybe manage the game a bit more. Yeah, each time they're, whether they're on the bench or starting, is a different challenge.
You're obviously well settled in your role now. Like, how are you finding it, and how do the pressures of coaching compare to the pressures of a week like this comes to Twickenham? Yeah,
well, it's in some ways it's a big challenge for me. Why is it a challenge? Because you've actually got no control after, let's say, Wednesday. Tomorrow will be our biggest day, and then we've got Thursday off, small captain's run Friday, and then we hand it over to the players, and that's the bit that I struggle with. But I suppose what I need to do is to know that I've done everything possible, with them, and made sure that got the balance right between giving them, I suppose, responsibility, but also giving them enough to ensure that they've implemented a game plan. I felt even before the French game maybe underdid a couple of things, and then probably got the balance right against Italy. So hopefully get the right balance this week.
Thanks, Johnny.
Johnny, I'm sorry to have to ask you about social media, but it's just an issue this week. You were a player recently. Was it an issue with you, and how did you deal with it if it was an issue? The nasty side of it, sorry.
Yeah, like I obviously have experienced social media, definitely. When it coming up to big games and being in and around big games, making sure that I didn't let it filter into my life, into my mind, because I knew it would have been toxic. I knew it would have been toxic even in the good times. There's always someone that has a different opinion. So yeah, I knew when to stay away, and I'd all the different settings to make sure that it was just those close to me that could contact me, and that's probably the best advice I got for guys now, is to get a lot of the noise and distractions out of your life.
Is that what with your coaches had on now 2 years later maybe? Is that what the advice you would give to the guys who are getting it hard?
Yeah. I got advice myself over the course of my career, and that was it. If one of these guys knocked on your door, would you let them in? Yeah. So why do you let them in through social media? And that's the probably the best piece of advice I got.
Rory?
Just to follow up on that, I can't remember where I said it, but it's that thing of, if you want to take guidance off someone, you shouldn't take criticism, and that goes along. But this is kind of the outside noise with the two lads, isn't it?
Yeah, look, like I said already, I've been there. It's tough. It's a tough place to be, and sometimes, you might block out a lot of it, and then you'll see the back page of a paper, or you'll see, someone will make a comment to you on the street. It comes to you, or what happened to me? Sometimes my parents would say, "Did you see what your man said about you?" I said, "Mum, can you please stop telling me?" So. It gets in, and you have to have ways, and you have to have good people around you to cope with it, and try and block out as much as you can, and concentrate on your performance and your preparation, and really narrow your focus.
Sorry, we've a good few still to get through. Murray?
Johnny, just when you said about the France game, you may have underdone some things. I think you termed it. What was that kind of stuff?
Well, we knew that the game was going to be a certain way, and when you've got a short lead-in time to a game like France, we tried to prioritise things, and probably just didn't do enough of the ball in the air, the live contests, the picking up the scraps. Now maybe I'm just being critical of myself, because that didn't go that well, and we were a little bit unlucky in a couple of instances, and we improved things in the second half. But just putting more of an emphasis on that over the last week, I suppose, and into this week.
Yeah. Maybe my impression wrong. The place kicking with Jack and Sam seems to be a little inconsistent at the moment. Do you feel that's the case? And if so, how can you help them find more consistency?
Sam was 2 from 2 against France. I know he didn't have a lot of kicks, and then obviously had missed a couple of bad ones. It's one off, really. Could they be better? Would they want to be better? I'm sure, yeah. Like every kicker, and you never have it fully nailed. That's the probably toughest thing about kicking. It'll hit you when you least expect it, and Sam, he had the ball on a string for 95% of last week, and he probably just rushed the first one, and that probably rattled him a little bit. We've all been there, and it's just important that he learns from it and doesn't let it happen again.
Oh,
Hey Johnny, there's always going to be growing pains for young number 10s. Do you refer back to lessons you learned in your 20s during the tough days when you're talking to the foreman now?
Sometimes I try not to too often, because it's their journey. It doesn't have to be the same as mine. But yeah, I do try and explain to them that sometimes these, what do you want to call it? Where you're starting off, you have to learn some hard lessons. Like I was learning lessons playing AIL at 22, 23. I got my first cap at 24, and I still had many bad games and many moments where I wish I could go and do all over again. But that was part of my journey, and they have to really just kind of look at it as moments to learn, and they'll get to where they want to go.
Michael?
Hey Johnny. Just on the importance of a team having a leader or an out half who's on top of his game, cocksure, like the best teams have this leader, obviously you would know that. Is it a risk that's taken into consideration if a player is looking short of confidence that they might be sent into a cauldron like Twickenham?
We talk about everything when it comes to selection, and that would be part of it. How is their confidence? How is it looking in training? Because sometimes guys can train unbelievably well during the week, and then they might just have a bad day. And sometimes you got to go, okay, well, that was just a bad day, and we trust them to go further. And sometimes, they can be affected by it. So that's all part of the process. We'll find out when do we announce it? Thursday.
Is there different considerations these days when you're selecting players? Like it might be with more ruthless back in the old days, some lad was dropped there. Is there other outside factors concerning players' development when it comes to selecting?
Yeah, it's a balance, I think. I'm learning these things as well. There's a World Cup in 18 months' time, and do we need to have guys ready for that? For sure. Do we need to win now? Yeah, we want to win now. So it's a balance, isn't it? We still think we can win with any of the 4 out halves that we do pick. So that's the biggest challenge at the moment. Yeah.
Just last 2 questions, Derek, then Brendan.
Johnny, you've been a top 14 out half, and I'm looking at the out halves that we've played against, which is a regular top 14 out half, and Paula Garbisi, who's been a regular top 14 out half for about 5 years now. Is that the standard we need to be looking at? And then can you use my second question will be to say is when we looked at sending Harry Byrne away, is this something that you think we should be opening up as an option? Because I don't know why. Because
I can't really move with this question.
Well, start with Jalabert and Garbisi. When we're comparing Crowley and Prendergast, are we comparing apples with oranges? Very young, inexperienced out halves against 2 battle-hardened top 14 regulars.
Number of games maybe, as opposed to the actual league that they play, and maybe that would be a factor for sure. Like how many games has Jalibert played? I don't know, but it's probably a lot because they play a lot in France. But in terms of encouraging players to go, I don't think I'd be too popular in the RFU if I said yes, Derek. So you've got to understand that it's I'm not going to win out of this question.
Okay, well, the win bit is Harry. Has he taken a noticeable step up in your eyes for his?
Yeah, I think he'd be the first to say that. I think he matured. I think he got exposed to a different coach and a different way of doing things, which made him broadened, the way he thinks about things. And he's come back a different player, different person, and that's great to see. Doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone, but at his stage of his career, it was great for him.
Last question, Brendan.
Hi Johnny, there's a good bit of talk of possible Lions fatigue this week. Tommy Freeman's talking about the mental strain people. This is also the first year we've had 3 weeks in a row for the Six Nations.
Yeah.
So is that reflected in how you guys are working this week? What you do?
Yeah, we got one of the best in the business in Al Wolves, where he takes all that into account. It's the first time we've had to play, I suppose, Six Nations 3 weeks in a row, and we did it in November, knowing that it was going to be like this in Six Nations. So how we managed the week would be key. But the bodies came out of it pretty well, and from Saturday, even though it was a pretty high intensity game with lots of ball in play, a lot of collisions. So I think we'll be good to go and make sure we manage the week properly.